Welcome! This is the Winco Acero 10-inch chef knife. I purchased this knife about 2.5 weeks back and I've been using it heavily since then. Prior to this knife, I've been working mostly with this one here. This is also a Winco Acero, but this is the smaller 8-inch variant. It's a beautiful, well-balanced knife. I did a review on this as well. Absolutely amazing. I love it. But I needed something bigger for some of the larger foods I work with. So I picked this one up. And I expected a similar performance to the 8-inch. And there are a few differences. With some respects, these knives are similar, but there are a few big differences that I'm going to talk about today. In this review, I'm going to be looking at the knife from three aspects. First, functionality. How well does this knife perform? Second, fit and finish. How well does this knife perform out of the box without any modifications? What are concerns there? And third, value. Are you getting your money's worth buying this knife? So let's get started. We can see that this 10-inch chef knife measures exactly 10 inches on the cutting surface, which is what we expect. So far so good. The overall length of the knife is measures in at 15.5 inches. And now we're going to check the weight of the knife. It's a little bit heavier than its smaller counterpart, coming in at 320 grams. The next aspect I want to discuss about this knife with respect to functionality is the balance. Balancing point on this knife is right over here, just ahead of the bolster on the blade, right where my thumb is. Now since the balancing point is so close to the handle, the knife doesn't feel that heavy. So it's really easy to work with. You can chop for a long time and your hand will not get tired. I love the handle on this knife. It's very comfortable. It's nice, big, solid. The bolster is situated just perfectly. You can get a great grip on it, especially if you're slicing through some tougher foods. Now there is one aspect to this knife which I think could be better. And this is one of the first things I noticed when I tried to chop with it. You see, I took this potato, a large one similar to this one. I tried to slice it using the tip. And my knife got stuck, just like this. It got stuck. So I tried again. And again, it kind of gets stuck. In this case, we chopped through it. But the point is, the tip of the knife sometimes got stuck. And I wasn't sure why that was the case. I had to do some investigating work. But eventually I figured it out. Look at the blade from the top. See how it starts off thick and just stays thick all the way up to the very tip over here? It doesn't get thinner in this area. I think this is one of the biggest drawbacks to this knife. The blade thickness toward the tip, it's really thick. And it makes it so that this knife is not that versatile to work with. You can really only use it for chopping and rocking motions. It doesn't work very well on the tip. If we were to take this and compare it to the smaller 8-inch counterpart, we can see what a big difference we have. Look at the difference in the tips. Look at this. So the 8-inch knife, we can see that this whole area here is rather thin. You can use this for detailed work. Whereas the 10-inch, you can see that you're only getting maybe about an inch from the top. That's usable for detail work. So if you want to use your 10-inch knife to dice up an onion and go under it, you're going to have a hard time doing it with this knife. You're going to have to switch to something smaller. Moving on to the next category, fit and finish. This knife, it's sharp out of the box. It's decently sharp. It's cut to about a 20-degree angle on each side, and that's okay for a chef's knife. It works. I would say go ahead and if you can, reprofile it to about 15 degrees on each side. I think the knife works a lot better that way. But if you don't have the time, it will work out of the box. Like other Winco Acero knives, there are some quality control issues that this one is susceptible to. First one being sharp edges along the metal. So the top of the knife, for instance here, if I ran my finger along here where I bought the knife, this would scratch me. It's really jagged and sharp. You'll want to go through with a little bit of sandpaper, 1000 grit, and just smooth out this whole area so it's not as abrasive. On the handle, where the parts, where the plastic meets the metal, there's a similar issue. So if I take my fingernail and I run it, you can see that it catches on over here. The transition isn't very smooth. So you, again, take that 1000 grit sandpaper and just smooth out the metal to plastic contact areas. Moving on to the last aspect of our review, value. So I'm happy with this knife overall. I'm finding it useful. I've been using it every day for the past 2.5 weeks. And the nice thing about this is that this is a high carbon steel. It's called X50CR MOV15. Carbon steel is quite a bit easier to sharpen than regular stainless steel. You can get just a bit sharper than stainless steel, by a little bit, not by much, but you can get just a bit sharper. It's easier to maintain your edge when you sharpen it. You will need to sharpen this regularly. It's not going to hold an edge very long. So you will need to go in and hone it, and once in a while even take out like a diamond steel or sharpening stone, and just redo your edge. I paid just over $10 for this knife, which I think is a steal. This knife performs far better than what you would expect for a $10 to $15 knife. So I would highly recommend it. I'm very happy with it. Keep in mind though that for detail work you're going to have issues using the tip of your blade. For detailed work you're going to need to use another knife. And of course this is carbon steel, meaning that it's not as resistant to corrosion as stainless steel. So don't put this in the dishwasher, always hand dry it afterwards, and don't leave it in a damp area. I hope this review was helpful. If you have questions, let me know, and I will do my best to answer them.